pleasure for Nick and I to welcome you today. From 62 countries, 1,200 registered, you are the dreamers, the doers, and the drummers.
The first theme is real-world usage. And today we're going to hear from lots of founders from around the world. The second theme is regulation.
The only important token that matters is the one that actually is being used. And this is what this conference is about. That is why we are here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host of Token Summit 2019, William Mougayar.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So this was the reel tape from last year in New York. We have a habit of always playing the reel from the previous summit. And last year we had 1,200 people. This year we had about 450 registered. So we are down, but not as much as the market. I think we have outperformed the market in how much prices have gone down since the high. So I'm going to start by just giving you some of my views on some issues that I see to kick things off. We have a very exciting program. The agenda is very packed. We're going to try to stay on time as we have been in the past. So when we talk about the life cycle of a token today, there are three main buckets: the issuing of the tokens, the actual trading of tokens, and the holding of tokens. And within each one of them, there are a number of options. A year ago, perhaps the ICO was the only option, or the most popular option. I used to say back then that if you can fog a mirror, you can raise an ICO, and that was last year. Today, the bar is much higher. If you look at the list here, the Reg A Plus is a very elaborate and complicated process, and we're going to talk about that later on in a couple of the sessions today. What's come on the scene recently is the phenomena of the IEO, initial exchange offerings, and that has been quite popular as well. In the trading side, the securities exchanges are still waiting to make a foray, and hopefully the security tokens will be trading there. And in the holding side, we've always had users, we've always had investors, but the segment of stakers is going to be more and more prominent. This is when you stake some parts of your tokens to secure the network or to hold some gains for a future benefit. The second topic that we're going to talk a lot about today is governance. But there is a difference between governance of blockchains, meaning how do we govern the technology, the decentralized aspects of the blockchain, but there's also the governance by blockchain. This is using the blockchain construct, but to really govern the relationships between people and between companies. And if you add to that dimension the fact that both of them borrow from corporate governance and political governance, this is a bit of a messy segment right now, that is trying to find its footing, that is trying to experiment and really see where the direction is going to be. And we're not clear on that yet. The other thing I want to talk about is the fact that tokens, unfortunately or fortunately for us, have multiple personalities and multiple use points, multiple properties. And that has been very confusing, not to us, the practitioners. It has been the most confusing to the regulators. And the regulators are the big elephant in the room, especially in the US. They have not been able to open up their minds and be able to accept that not all tokens are securities. Obviously, tokens started to be a currency because Bitcoin was the granddaddy of the tokens. It is a security. It is now becoming an equity. This is where the security tokens are mostly. It can be a financial instrument. It can be a reward. It could be a right, a voting right, for example. Or it could be a unique digital asset like a CryptoKitty or a non-fungible token, something that does not have an equivalent in the physical space. And that is the fact today, and this is something that the regulators are not able to grapple with, and they are seeing everything and labeling everything as a security, and that is not the right way to think about tokens. If you understand and accept the role of tokens, you will really clearly see that the future ahead is very different. So in honor of that, I wore this special t-shirt that says, "Fighting the current state." So it's a pun on the blockchain states, and we have to fight the current state to make change happen. Nick?
How's it going, everyone? It's good to be back in New York City for our third token summit here. As William mentioned, it's a little more quiet, I would say, than last year, right? Which I think is probably a healthy thing. But I really appreciate you all being here for what I think is going to be another really good day of discussions. So I want to get right into our agenda, but before I do that, I wanted to quickly provide some historical context on the space and introduce a term that I like to use called cryptocurrency realism, which is the belief that cryptocurrencies are here to stay, but it's not just about one cryptocurrency, right? It's about many that are contributing value to the world and kind of pushing the industry forward. Now, you guys are at Token Summit, so it's likely that this is kind of an obvious comment to you. But if you spend any time on Twitter, you know that there's a lot of people that don't believe that, right? There's a lot of people that believe that there's only one cryptocurrency that matters and the rest are garbage. I myself actually used to believe that. And I want to quickly kind of unpack this maximalism belief and share why I think kind of over time, maximalists will convert to what I call crypto realists. So, you know, it all started with Bitcoin, right? We wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Satoshi creating Bitcoin in 2009. Now, we don't talk a lot about Bitcoin here at Token Summit, and a lot of people take that to mean that we don't like Bitcoin, which couldn't be further from the truth, right? Bitcoin is the gateway cryptocurrency. It's the most decentralized, it has the strongest brand recognition and the most security, and it's doing its job incredibly well as a censorship-resistant store of value. So I love Bitcoin. That said, the reason that we're not talking about it a lot today is one, because there's not a lot of innovation happening right now outside of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is serving its market really well, but most of the innovation is happening outside of Bitcoin, right? And the second is that, unfortunately, most people within the Bitcoin community are quite antagonistic towards other projects. Again, in the early days myself used to have the same belief, but kind of over time, my belief changed, right? And this belief is understandable. The first generation of cryptocurrencies were copycats of Bitcoin with small changes, right? And this is a look at the top 10 cryptocurrencies by market value in 2013, right? And you guys likely recognize Litecoin, but outside of Litecoin, not one coin here is relevant in any way, right? So I think Bitcoiners that were dismissive of kind of this first wave of cryptocurrencies were in a lot of ways right. Then came Ethereum, right? And Vitalik wanted to build a smart contract platform on top of Bitcoin, but the Bitcoin core developers were not supportive of this. And we all know what happened next. The Ethereum blockchain launched, and undoubtedly Ethereum was a catalyst for a lot of interest and excitement kind of in this industry. Now, unfortunately, a lot of that interest and excitement was misguided, right? We don't need to name too many names here, but the cryptocurrencies that were copycat memes that captured 10 million of market value in the first wave of cryptocurrencies, we're now capturing 10 billion, right? Like the total market value of Tron at its peak was 12 billion, right? So once again, copycats and scam ICOs, which you can check out a list of thousands of them on deadcoins.com, again, kind of strengthened, I think, in a lot of ways, the Bitcoiners who thought that every cryptocurrency that wasn't Bitcoin, was bad. But I think if you look closely, there are some really interesting blockchain-based token-enabled products that are pushing the space forward. And this is just a list of 4, and we're going to be talking about these all day today. So to me, crypto realism is recognizing that Bitcoin is great, recognizing that a lot of coins, most coins in fact, are bad, but also kind of recognizing that there are cryptocurrencies that are really pushing the space forward. And I think as an industry, recognizing this and collaborating more is beneficial and will get us ultimately from speculation to real world use cases, and that's really what we're going to be talking about today.